that AI has the ability to translate some of these ancient languages now, which is really interesting. Do you have a belief, or do you just try to interpret the text and try to see what is the message?
Is it possible to use modern technology to better understand biblical and spiritual writings, such as the Book of Enoch? Definitely, especially through the power of artificial intelligence. For centuries, this book has stayed controversial and mysterious, with even theologians and historians unable to fully decode its secrets. Now, AI is stepping in and coming to the rescue. Modern power over the ancient clues. The Book of Enoch is one of those ancient writings that's always carried an air of mystery. It's not part of most versions of the Bible, but it still holds a special place in the hearts of theologians, historians, and conspiracy theorists alike. Written centuries before Christ, likely between 300 BCE and 100 CE, this book dives deep into themes of angels, fallen watchers, hidden knowledge, and apocalyptic visions. And now, with the rise of artificial intelligence, some are wondering, can AI finally crack the code and reveal the deeper meanings behind this enigmatic text? To get things straight, AI isn't some all-knowing oracle. It doesn't understand the way humans do. But what it can do is process massive amounts of information at lightning speed, detect patterns and cross-reference texts from various sources. That's actually a big deal when you're dealing with something like the Book of Enoch, which is full of cryptic symbolism, non-linear storytelling, and ancient cultural references that most modern readers wouldn't catch. Let's say you feed the entire Book of Enoch into an AI model, along with other apocryphal texts, the Dead Sea Scrolls, ancient Sumerian writings, biblical canon, and even mythologies from other civilizations. What you get is a chance to analyze how recurring themes, like divine judgment, forbidden knowledge, or the Nephilim, play out across different traditions. AI could identify language patterns, semantic shifts, or hidden parallels that scholars might miss just because the sheer volume of material is overwhelming. But it doesn't stop there. Machine learning models, especially those trained in natural language processing, NLP, can also help reconstruct lost or damaged portions of the text. Remember, the Book of Enoch wasn't passed down in mint condition. Large chunks are missing or only exist in Ge'ez, an ancient Ethiopian language. AI can compare fragments with similar texts and make educated guesses to fill in the blanks. It's not rewriting the book, just offering possible reconstructions that scholars can evaluate. Now, here's where it gets kind of fun and controversial. Some researchers are using AI not just to analyze the Book of Enoch academically, but to look for hidden codes or encrypted meanings. This leans more into fringe territory, but people are running Enochian passages through pattern recognition algorithms, looking for secret mathematical structures or connections to astronomical data. Sound wild? Maybe, but it's not that different from how medieval mystics tried to uncover divine truths using numerology or astrology. Of course, we've got to be careful. AI can only interpret data. It doesn't have spiritual insight or lived experience. There's a real risk of projecting modern ideas onto ancient texts. If you're not careful, you can train your model to find exactly what you already believe. That's where human experts come in. Theologians, historians, and linguists still play a crucial role in filtering out what's insightful versus what's just AI-generated noise. But what specific information can AI confidently decode in the Book of Enoch? Identity and nature of the Watchers. The Watchers are perhaps the most iconic and mysterious figures in the Book of Enoch. These are the angels who were originally tasked with watching over humanity, but ended up rebelling against divine law by descending to earth and mating with human women. Their offspring, the Nephilim, are described as giants who brought chaos to the world. Traditional interpretations vary. Some see the Watchers as literal beings, others view them as symbols of corrupted spiritual authority, or even metaphors for ancient rulers. AI can comb through various religious and mythological texts to trace similar beings, like the Mesopotamian Anunnaki, the Greek Titans, or even the sons of God in Genesis 6. It could help decode whether the Watchers represent real historical figures remembered through myth, a fallen priesthood, or a deeper spiritual metaphor. With AI's ability to cross-reference thousands of texts at once, we might finally pin down the broader cultural and historical context behind these beings, secrets of heaven and cosmology. Enoch's journey through the heavens is a kaleidoscope of strange descriptions. Winds with names, heavenly tablets, revolving stars, portals, and layers of skies stacked like cosmic floors. It almost reads like science fiction. Many researchers believe these descriptions are coded cosmological insights from ancient times. AI could analyze this content in the context of other ancient cosmologies, Sumerian, Babylonian, Egyptian, and even Vedic, to identify common themes or astronomical phenomena being described in symbolic language. For instance, references to portals or gates might correspond to solstices, equinoxes, or celestial alignments. Some even speculate Enoch contains knowledge about planetary movements or celestial mechanics that predates the Greeks. AI's pattern recognition abilities could uncover hidden astronomical models, or even parallels with modern astrophysics buried within the poetic descriptions. The prophetic timeline and apocalypse themes. A large portion of Enoch's writing is apocalyptic, filled with visions of judgment, the fate of sinners, and the final purification of Earth. The challenge is that these prophecies are often highly symbolic, using allegorical numbers, animal metaphors, and multi-layered visions. AI can step in by applying mathematical and statistical models to detect underlying structures or hidden timelines. Some researchers believe the book encodes historical events in a symbolic way, or that it contains a cyclical calendar of divine intervention. AI could scan for recurring numerological patterns, like the use of sevens or references to Jubilee years, and map these to known historical cycles. It might even detect shifts in writing style or tone that hint at different authors or time periods, helping us determine which visions were meant for Enoch's time and which were future-facing. Forbidden knowledge given to humanity, the Watchers not only mated with humans, but they also taught them forbidden knowledge, including metallurgy, weapon-making, astrology, enchantments, and even makeup and jewelry. On the surface, these might seem like innocent or unrelated inventions, but some scholars suggest this list reflects a cultural shift, the sudden appearance of technologies that disrupted social and spiritual balance. AI could help contextualize these teachings within the archaeological and historical record. Did societies suddenly advance in metallurgy or medicine during the time Enoch was written? Could these forbidden teachings represent real-world leaps in knowledge that ancient people saw as suspicious or supernatural? AI can compare Enoch's list to technological advancements across ancient civilizations to see if there's a correlation, possibly uncovering a more grounded explanation for these mythic stories. The mystery of the Nephilim. The Nephilim, the hybrid offspring of angels and humans, are one of the Bible's great enigmas. They're described as giants and men of renown, and their existence supposedly led to the Great Flood. But were they real beings, exaggerated legends, or just symbolic of moral corruption? AI can sift through ancient texts to find every mention of giants, heroes, or demigods from global mythologies, from the Norse Jotnar to the Greek Titans. It could also analyze whether the Nephilim were actual historical figures later mythologized, or perhaps symbols of fallen dynasties or corrupted bloodlines. There's even a fringe theory that Enoch's tale encodes genetic or evolutionary anomalies, something AI might pick up on if linguistic patterns or symbolic descriptions match known biological phenomena. With enough data, AI could bring clarity to the origin, role, and fate of the Nephilim across different cultures. Lost or fragmented sections of the text. The Book of Enoch was lost to the Western world for over 1,000 years and only survived in the Ge'ez language of Ethiopia. Large portions are damaged, fragmented, or missing entirely. This is where AI shines. Using predictive text generation and neural language models, AI could attempt to reconstruct missing passages by analyzing style, syntax, and vocabulary. Think of it as intelligent filling in the blanks. AI doesn't make things up randomly, but uses linguistic probability to generate likely reconstructions. It can also compare Enoch's fragments to similar texts, like the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Book of Jubilees, to find parallel verses that might hint at lost content. This doesn't mean we'll recover Enoch's original form, but we could get much closer to understanding what parts of the story were intended to say before time and translation scrambled them. Symbolism of numbers, names, and places. Enoch's world is full of symbolic numbers and cryptic names. The number 365 is linked to the solar year, while 7 and 70 appear in spiritual contexts. Names of angels often end in El, hinting at divine functions, and certain mountains or rivers might symbolize cosmic boundaries. AI could map these numbers and names across other ancient literature to see if there's a repeating logic or hidden structure. Maybe certain numbers point to calendar systems, cycles of judgment, or cosmological constants. For instance, 70 shepherds might be more than just a metaphor. They could relate to a calendar of nations or even a zodiacal structure. By breaking down these symbols using historical numerology and name etymology, AI could help crack open a whole other layer of meaning that's been overlooked or misunderstood. Linguistic and etymological clues. The Book of Enoch has passed through many languages: Aramaic, Hebrew, Ge'ez, Greek, and Latin. Words often lose or gain meaning through these transitions. AI-powered etymological analysis can trace the root of key terms and see how they've evolved or been mistranslated. For instance, a word translated as angel might originally have meant messenger or shining one, which changes how we interpret entire passages. Similarly, poetic or symbolic phrases might carry double meanings in the original language that modern translators have missed. AI can analyze how a particular phrase is used in dozens of other texts, offering fresh insight into its possible original intent. This linguistic detective work could completely shift how we read and understand some of Enoch's most mysterious passages, cross-religious and intertextual insights. Finally, one of AI's greatest powers is its ability to make connections across vast amounts of data. The Book of Enoch shares ideas and imagery with Jewish apocalyptic literature, early Christian texts, Gnostic writings, and even Islamic traditions about Idris, who many equate with Enoch. AI can scan all of these sources simultaneously to reveal how Enoch's ideas were reused, reinterpreted, or suppressed over time. This could tell us a lot about the political and spiritual agendas of the people who preserved or banned the book. For instance, if AI finds that certain Enochian themes pop up repeatedly in Qumran scrolls, or later Christian mysticism, it might point to a hidden continuity of esoteric knowledge. The more data AI analyzes, the clearer the web of influence and spiritual evolution becomes. That's the power of AI. Impressive, right? But is it reliable in terms of accuracy and reliability? The validity of non-human tools. In recent years, artificial intelligence has demonstrated impressive capabilities in processing and analyzing large volumes of text, including ancient and complex religious scriptures. Among these, the Book of Enoch, a non-canonical Jewish text with apocalyptic themes, has become a subject of interest for theologians, historians, and now AI researchers. Leveraging natural language processing, NLP, and machine learning, AI can decode patterns, cross-reference translations, and even infer context from fragmented manuscripts. Yet, while the accuracy of AI in interpreting biblical literature shows promise, it is not without significant limitations. AI's accuracy in decoding texts like the Book of Enoch largely depends on the quality of its training data and algorithms. With access to multiple translations and ancient language models, such as Ge'ez, Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, AI can identify linguistic patterns, semantic shifts, and theological themes across different versions of the text. It can compare Enochian references to related scriptures in the Bible and other apocryphal books, providing new insights into recurring symbols like the Watchers, the concept of divine judgment, or the cosmology of the heavens. Through pattern recognition, AI is also capable of highlighting intertextual relationships that might go unnoticed by human readers, helping scholars form more nuanced interpretations. In this sense, AI acts as an intelligent assistant that accelerates research while uncovering hidden layers within the text. However, despite these advantages, AI has several disadvantages when applied to religious and philosophical texts, such as the Book of Enoch. The primary limitation is contextual sensitivity. AI lacks the deep cultural, historical, and spiritual intuition that human scholars bring to such interpretations. Ancient texts are not merely linguistic artifacts. They are theologically loaded, contextually bound, and often symbolic. AI may misinterpret metaphor as literal meaning or fail to capture esoteric significance that requires human cultural literacy or theological training. For instance, interpreting angelic hierarchies or prophetic visions demands more than syntactic decoding. It requires an understanding of Second Temple Judaism, early Christian theology, and mystical traditions, which cannot be fully captured through data alone. Another disadvantage lies in the bias and limitations of data sources. AI models are only as good as the data they are trained on. If the AI relies predominantly on Western translations or lacks exposure to Ethiopian Christian traditions, where the Book of Enoch is canonized, its interpretations may reflect a skewed perspective. Moreover, historical biases embedded in translations, whether from colonial-era linguists or denominational agendas, can be amplified by AI if not carefully curated. This can lead to distortions rather than clarity, particularly in texts that already carry complex theological weight. There is also the risk of over-reliance on AI outputs. In the digital age, the speed and authority with which AI presents information can create a false sense of objectivity. Scholars and lay readers alike might assume that AI-generated interpretations are definitive, even though such interpretations are probabilistic and based on patterns rather than conviction or lived experience. This becomes problematic in theological discourse, where interpretation is often open-ended, subjective, and shaped by community and tradition. As such, AI should be viewed as a supplementary tool rather than a final arbiter of religious truth. While AI offers substantial benefits in decoding complex texts like the Book of Enoch, especially in terms of speed, cross-referencing, and linguistic analysis, its limitations in grasping spiritual nuance, cultural context, and theological depth must be acknowledged. AI can illuminate, but it cannot replace the interpretive role of human scholars, theologians, and spiritual communities. As we continue to explore the intersection of technology and sacred texts, a collaborative approach that honors both data and devotion will yield the most fruitful insights. Is it worth decoding and reading? Believed to have been written between the 3rd century BCE and the 1st century CE, the book is attributed to Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, who is mentioned briefly in the book of Genesis as a man who walked with God and was taken to heaven without experiencing death. Though lost to much of Western Christianity for centuries, the book has survived in its entirety in the Ge'ez language of Ethiopia and remains a part of the scriptural canon of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Fragments of it were also discovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls, underscoring its significance in Second Temple Judaism. Historically, the Book of Enoch played a crucial role in shaping early Jewish thought, especially during the intertestamental period. It reflects a time of religious upheaval and apocalyptic expectation, when many Jews were grappling with foreign domination, corruption among religious leaders, and the problem of evil. The text is composed of several sections, the most famous being the Book of the Watchers, which describes how a group of fallen angels, known as the Watchers, descended to earth, took human wives, and produced the Nephilim, giant offspring who brought violence and chaos. These angels also taught humanity forbidden knowledge, including sorcery, astrology, and weapon-making. Their rebellion leads to divine judgment, showcasing a cosmic battle between good and evil forces. Theologically, the book offers profound insights into the nature of sin, divine justice, and the hope for a future restoration. One of its central messages is that evil is not merely the result of human fallibility, but is also fueled by supernatural influences. However, it is equally clear that God's justice will ultimately prevail. Enoch, as a prophet, serves as a heavenly scribe and intermediary between God and humanity. His visions and revelations emphasize the coming judgment, the resurrection of the righteous, and the punishment of the wicked. These themes would later resonate strongly in Christian eschatology, especially in texts like the Book of Revelation. Indeed, Enoch is even quoted in the New Testament Book of Jude, lending it some scriptural weight in the early Christian church. The relevance of the Book of Enoch to humanity lies in its exploration of timeless themes such as the corruption of power, the consequences of moral transgression, and the hope for divine intervention in a broken world. In an age where technological advancement often outpaces ethical reflection, mirroring the Watcher's imparting of forbidden knowledge, the book raises essential questions about responsibility, integrity, and the use of power. It also reminds readers of the invisible forces, whether understood as spiritual, psychological, or societal, that influence human behavior. For many, Enoch's emphasis on spiritual vigilance, repentance, and the ultimate triumph of justice continues to offer comfort and inspiration. Enoch's universal significance. Enoch serves as a pivotal figure who connects diverse religious traditions, underscoring his significance in the annals of human history. His influence extends even into non-Abrahamic faiths, where references to Enoch can be found, illustrating how his existence has contributed to the understanding of humanity's place in the cosmos. The Book of Enoch presents a rich and intricate narrative that engages with profound themes through its examination of celestial entities, prophetic visions, and esoteric knowledge. This text is organized into 5 distinct sections, each illuminating various facets of Enoch's experiences, his divine interactions, and the greater mysteries that govern the universe. Visions and prophecies. In the Book of Parables and the Astronomical Book, Enoch experiences a remarkable series of visions and dreams that reveal deep truths about celestial events and the role of divine entities in maintaining the universe's harmony. The Book of Dream Visions expands on prophecies related to humanity's future, while the Epistle of Enoch offers guidance and warnings about living righteously and the events of the end times. As a result, Enoch was taken from Earth, where he vividly depicts the planet's shape, size, and color as seen from the heavens, a vast, radiant blue orb. The insights and teachings found in the chapters of the Book of Enoch are linked to his journey into the divine realms. This once humble servant ascended through 10 heavens, encountering extraordinary visions that underpin his writings. With the support of an angel's wings, Enoch rises above the clouds to behold sights never witnessed by any human before. In the first heaven, he meets 200 angels, and in the second, he sees a profound darkness filled with countless souls awaiting judgment, unaware of their looming fate. They are engulfed in fear, oblivious to the circumstances surrounding them. The angels accompanying Enoch elucidate that these beings are prisoners who have transgressed the commandments of their Lord and are on the brink of facing a grim destiny. The subsequent heaven is illuminated by a radiant light, accentuated by the evergreen tree of life. In this realm, Enoch experiences a sense of eternal joy, often associated with the Garden of Eden in Jewish tradition, tended by 300 angels. He discovers that this splendid domain is reserved for those who lead a life of righteousness, uphold justice, and eschew all forms of wickedness, as well as for those who honor their Lord, provide for the needy, and treat others with kindness. Following this extraordinary garden of divine pleasure lies a harrowing expanse of darkness and fire, overseen by ruthless angels, each equipped to inflict severe suffering on those who defy God or engage in sinful behavior. Those who will inherit this kingdom of torment include people who steal, lie, envy, exploit, and practice forbidden acts like violence, immoral acts, magic, and sorcery. Wait, there's more. Celestial wonders and angelic encounters. In the fourth heaven, Enoch witnessed the intricate celestial dance of the sun, moon, and stars. He observed the angels dedicated to these heavenly orbs and encountered the magnificent phoenix, soaring gracefully as it paid tribute to the majesty of the Lord. The second book of Enoch depicts the phoenix with a crocodile's head, lion-like feet, and a radiant appearance, standing an impressive 900 feet tall with wings reminiscent of angels. As Enoch ascended to the fifth heaven, he came across beings that resembled humans but were significantly larger, known as the Watchers. He sensed their grave expressions, and the angels accompanying him explained that the Watchers had sinned against God by disobeying divine orders to interact with humans on Earth. The angels expressed their sorrow as they detailed the repercussions of the Watchers' misdeeds. In the next heaven, Enoch saw groups of angels tasked with overseeing the seasons, years, seas, and rivers. Upon entering the seventh heaven, he was enveloped in a brilliant light and greeted by numerous angels, including the cherubim and seraphim. The eighth heaven unveiled the cosmic hierarchy, while the ninth revealed the stars. Enoch was embraced by a radiant light that transformed his garments into a dazzling brilliance, and he received an anointing from God. He was then appointed as a scribe, given the important duty of recording significant divine revelations. Entrusted with the task of sharing his experiences with humanity, he was guided back to Earth, armed with newfound knowledge and insights into construction techniques. Enoch's return and message to humanity. A remarkable change takes place as a person acquires the wisdom and abilities needed to build monumental structures. He gathers a community around him, sharing his visions and warning them against unethical deeds while also disclosing the destiny that awaits the virtuous. This moment signifies the start of his journey as a bridge between the heavenly and earthly realms. A deep dive into the various chapters of the Book of Enoch will shed light on their importance for our lives and the consequences that follow the Book of the Watchers. At the heart of the issue is their desire to create their own nations and societies, attempting to mirror divine power without permission. The Book of the Watchers, the first part of the Book of Enoch, is particularly striking and intellectually stimulating. It sets the stage for discussions on themes like cosmic justice, divine punishment, and the corrupting influence of authority. This section tells the gripping story of a group of angels called the Watchers, who descend to Earth and disrupt the divine order by marrying human women, leading to the birth of the Nephilim, creatures that are part human and part angel. The actions of the Watchers trigger a chain reaction that threatens the balance between heaven and earth, prompting a necessary intervention from God. The Book of Watchers commences with a parable concerning the ultimate fate of the wicked and the righteous, found in chapters 1 to 5. This introductory passage presents a grim and ominous vision of God's impending judgment on both groups, establishing a framework for accountability. Following this, chapter 11 details the fall of the angels and the subsequent moral decline of humanity, introducing the Watchers, led by their chief. The Revelations. The Book of Watchers commences with a parable concerning the ultimate fate of both the wicked and the righteous. This introduction is succeeded by the narrative of the angels' fall and the subsequent moral degradation of humanity. Central to this account are the Watchers, led by their chief, Samyaza, who convinces 200 angels to take an oath to descend to Earth and marry human women. Their union with humans gives rise to the Nephilim, colossal beings that cause chaos on Earth, depleting resources and exhibiting increasing violence as their numbers swell. These entities begin to consume humanity and engage in illicit activities, thereby corrupting creation through bloodshed and sin. Subsequently, Enoch experiences a dream vision that reveals the impending doom of the fallen angels. In this vision, Enoch intercedes with God on behalf of the fallen angels, particularly Azazel, who has imparted to humans the knowledge of weaponry, warfare, and sorcery. Nevertheless, God condemns the Watchers, pronouncing eternal punishment for their misdeeds. Chapters 17 to 36 detail Enoch's explorations of Earth and Sheol. He undertakes mystical journeys through various realms, including the underworld and a gateway to the heavens. During these travels, he encounters the 7 archangels and observes the locations designated for the punishment of the fallen angels. This journey enables Enoch to grasp the full magnitude of the Watcher's corruption, underscoring the notion that divine justice is both inevitable and absolute. The issue at hand lies in the manner in which individuals have engaged with it. It has led to their moral corruption. Consequently, it exacerbates the challenge of lust. Within this context, prominent figures among the fallen angels, notably Azazel and Samyaza, emerge as significant symbols of rebellion against divine authority. Azazel, in particular, is held responsible for imparting forbidden knowledge to humanity, thereby misleading them through the introduction of weapons, sorcery, and superficiality. Each of these angels has contributed distinct forms of knowledge to humankind, ranging from astrology to cosmetics, which ultimately culminates in a decline of moral integrity. The repercussions of these actions manifest through a series of divine retributions. Archangels such as Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel serve as agents of divine will. Uriel is sent to alert Noah about the impending deluge intended to purify the earth, while Raphael confines Azazel in darkness until the final judgment. Gabriel's role involves inciting conflict among the Nephilim, prompting them to turn against one another, and Michael is responsible for binding Samyaza and his fellow angels, sentencing them to the abyss until the culmination of time. The Book of Enoch is more than a historical curiosity. It is a spiritual and philosophical text with enduring significance. Though excluded from most religious canons, it provides a unique window into early Jewish cosmology and has profoundly influenced Christian apocalyptic literature. Its rich symbolism, moral urgency, and vision of cosmic justice invite readers to reflect on their role in the moral fabric of the universe. As humanity continues to wrestle with questions of good and evil, oppression and redemption, the voice of Enoch, calling for awareness, righteousness, and hope, still speaks with surprising relevance. Using AI to decode the Book of Enoch is kind of like giving a telescope to a stargazer. It doesn't change the mystery, it just gives us a better lens to explore it. Whether you're in it for the academic deep dive or the metaphysical rabbit hole, there's no doubt that tech is opening up new ways to engage with old wisdom. And who knows, maybe one day AI will help us understand what the Watchers were really up to, or at least help us ask better questions. Will the day come? Only the power of AI can tell. See you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.